Hi everybody, so nice to be back with you again. First and foremost, I cannot thank you enough for your outpouring of love and support, words of prayer and encouragement during this time in my life. As you know, I recently lost my dad, and it's most certainly been a trying time, as those of you know who have been there and have lost a parent. It's almost indescribable, really, to go through it, and I know that all of our experiences are different, but in the end, a loss is a loss, and it's something that we as children have to bear. And it's not easy. Some days are harder than others, and we just have to go through it, press through. But I thank you. You have most certainly helped. You have made my life just shine brightly with all that you have given me in your heart and your support. So I just want to thank you. Secondly, I went on social media the other day and I asked for a list of questions. I decided it would be time to do a Q&A, and boy, did you offer some questions. I was diligent in going through all of them, and I wanted to make sure that in today's Q&A I didn't repeat any questions that might have been answered in previous Q&As. So I have my list and I am ready to go. The first question comes from Sarita, and she says, what are you currently reading for fun? Novels lately have become my guilty pleasure, especially when I travel. And my latest guilty pleasure is Nora Roberts' The Liar. As you can see, I'm about halfway through. My son made this very cute little bookmark for me in school. But what a great read. Nora Roberts is a phenomenal author, and The Liar has been super so far. I have loved Girl on the Train, and oh my gosh, there are just so many other wonderful novels out there, but that is the latest. Annie asks, what skincare products can you recommend? I'm 40 plus combination skin, and I've been searching for a good moisturizer. I have really bounced around from a lot of different products, and I have to tell you that my favorite so far seems to be the Beauty Counter line. And if you are unfamiliar with that product line, I did a product review on Beauty Counter quite a while ago. It may have been maybe a year or so, but the Counter Time line of Beauty Counter is terrific for 40 plus women. Natural ingredients, no harmful chemicals. So I encourage you to go to Beauty Counter's website and check out the product line. So far, that's really been my favorite product. And Deco Ego says, we know your breakfast staple, but what are some of the other things that you eat for lunch and dinner? Do you ever fall off the wagon when it comes to healthy eating? Heck yeah, I do. My guilty pleasure would be warm bread and butter. I don't know what that is, but it's like crack. It's unbelievable. So for me, breads, butters, I'm not a huge sugar person. I mean, the occasional dessert, okay, I have to confess, the occasional dessert that is my guilty pleasure would have to be wedding cake. I know that sounds silly, but I will burn it up on the dance floor knowing that I'm going to get a nice wedge of wedding cake. My favorite. When it comes to the normal daily staples, I do try to keep it lean and mean. I love lean proteins, chicken and fish and egg whites, turkey breast, a variety. I try to mix it up. I do eat beef. I always am looking for organic grass-fed, and lots of vegetables. I love big colorful salads and steamed vegetables and sauteed vegetables and olive oil or coconut oil. So those are the biggies. And then I'll plug it in with a quinoa or a barley or something like that. That's when I am on the plan. Okay. Tuscan Life asks, what is your typical Saturday morning at the grocery store or running errands makeup? Do you put the full complement on? Absolutely not. I am not afraid to go barefaced or even close to it out in public. So I try to keep it minimalistic because I want it easy and quick. So I might use a BB or a CC cream that's a moisturizer with a little bit of tint and an SPF. Maybe a few little strokes of mascara on the upper lash, a little bronzer and a lip gloss, and I am out the door. And there are some days on the weekends I look like that for the entire day, and I am A-okay with it. Something about feeling comfortable in your own skin. It goes a long way. Let's see. Parfait Design Co. How do you lose the mom guilt when taking time to take care of yourself? Great question. Let me ask you this. How good are we when we are snappy and short with our kids? We don't listen to them. We're not patient. We're on edge. Are we good parents when we're like that? Not at all. Our kids would probably wish that we had an extra hour of sleep, or maybe an extra hour at the gym, or an hour for a massage, to feel decompressed and at peace with ourselves so that we can approach our children with warmth and a smile. So that's my feeling. It is important to take care of yourself so you can be good for your children. It's that famous expression, you have to put the oxygen mask on first before you can help anybody else. So please do not feel guilty for making yourself feel good so that you can be better for others. Vargo says, what's your biggest tip on being able to get everything accomplished and figuring out the time to do it all? Organization, and there is a video in my series on that as well. Organization is key. Writing things down, looking a day in advance, mapping out, planning. I don't like surprises. I don't like things thrown at me last minute. I like to know what I'm doing when, and that way I can mentally pace myself and make sure that I have allotted enough time to take care of all the things that need to be taken care of. Planning and preparation are key to doing anything well. So that's my biggest tip for that. Nikki asks, if you could only take 5 items in a makeup bag for vacation, what would they be? Well, they would definitely be the tinted BB or CC cream, which is a moisturizer and an SPF, mascara, a little eyeshadow palette that would either have a dark brown or a black, so I could use one of those to smudge to create eyeliner. That's 3. A bronzer or a blush, and a moisturizing lipstick. There you go, top 5. Joey Cox says, I'm a hairstylist here in Houston and I've worked with your coworkers before. I cannot tell you how often women come in talking about your latest cut or color. My question is, how did you choose your stylist, and is he or she leading you into color and style directions, or do you direct them? I direct. I am the boss. Much to their chagrin. I think I drive them crazy, but I always come in with a photos, images, ideas. I see things, I like things, I want to try, I want to experiment, and I like coming in with those ideas and with images. People will always ask me, how do you describe your haircut? And I will say, don't describe, take a photo, do a screen grab, download a photo from the internet, take pictures, because the stylist visually needs to see the cut and the color in order to try to recreate the same thing on you, or maybe offer a slight alternative that would better suit your facial features or bone structure. And then regarding choosing the stylist, we have some amazing stylists here in Houston, some of whom I've just known from out and about on the scene. Sometimes if I see somebody with a great haircut, I'll ask them, who did your hair? So it's really a variety of just knowing people or asking somebody who has a phenomenal haircut and getting a referral or recommendation. Winter Butterfly says, I really like how you carry yourself. You're such an inspiration. Thank you. Can you please do a video on dating etiquette, especially how to act when the bill arrives? It's so confusing nowadays. Okay, I am old school when it comes to this. If a man asks you out on a date, do not pay. Do not offer to pay. He asked you. It should be his treat. I believe in chivalry. Yes, I know we're modern. Yes, we work. Yes, we have paychecks. Yes, we're proud. But you know what? It's nice to be able to contribute when you're married and you're a family and you equally bring things to the table. But in the dating process, no ma'am, he should treat. End of story. Susan Harris Tucker says, how did you and your husband meet and what did you do on your first date? We actually met through a mutual friend, somebody I've known since college and somebody that Nick has known for many, many years. So it's astonishing that our paths never crossed. But I was actually having lunch with Mansour, who is my friend, and my mother. And this was in May of 2010, and we were outside on a balcony. And Nick was there with a group of his friends. And so after lunch, he came over and introduced himself and said hello. And he actually spent more time talking to my mother than me. And apparently, my mom, after a couple of glasses of wine, said to Nick on the way out, would you happen to know of anybody for my daughter? Oi! So Nick thought that was very funny and didn't approach me then, but our mutual friend had a pool party a few weeks later where he invited a small group of us and our children. And so Nick was there with his daughter and I went with my son. And that's when we really got to talk and to know each other. So we set a date after that. And a few days later, we went to a restaurant at one of our favorite hotels here in Houston, and we have been together ever since. So there you go, random and through a friend, which I think is so neat because people truly know us best, and it's just fun when relationships come together that way. Let's see, Carolyn Danford Montgomery says, how do you blend your families? Do you plan specific events or activities? How do you as a couple discipline, and how do you work with exes to keep the peace? Structure, and I've talked about this before, structure and rules are very important, and it's equally important that they are evenly handed out by both parents in the house. One cannot be seen as a pushover, one can't be seen as the disciplinarian, and then the kids try to finagle through the other. It needs to be equal-handed, and it also needs to be presented as a team. This is the home, these are the house rules, and this is what you follow. And I truly believe that when discipline and structure are created, it shows our children that we love them. They interpret love through that, which is so ironic. We think that it's the opposite and they're going to hate us, but children need discipline and structure. But it also needs to be applied with a loving hand. So that's our approach here. And when it comes to working with exes, that's the thing. It's a working formula. It has to work. And when you put children first and you do right by children, then you always find a way to make things work. And I will also say that putting things down in writing, whether it's email, text, when it comes to planning events, because with blended families, it can be a lot of back and forth, but things really need to be written down and structured so that nothing gets lost in interpretation and everything is clear for everybody to see. Barb Walter says, what is your favorite inexpensive date night activity? Favorite is staying at home with my husband, having a bottle of wine, cheese, pate, grapes, and crackers, and staying in and watching House of Cards on Netflix. That's it. Happy day when that happens, and it's a rarity, but I just love doing that. Sylvia Fernandez says, I have too many questions, but let's start. When it comes to jeans, do you think past certain age women should forget about skinny jeans? And what kind of boot cut do you like on jeans? First of all, I think that if you have the physique to wear them, wear them. If you carry yourself well, wear them. I don't believe in rules, but I think it has to be body flattering on your type, and only you will know what's going to look best on you. I find that skinny jeans are harder to wear, that you have to be long and lean in the leg in order for it to really look chic and sophisticated. So that's a personal decision. My favorite jean that I think flatters everybody is the high-waisted wide flare jean. First of all, it creates an incredibly long leg with the higher waist, and the wider flare from the knee out balances, because most women tend to be a little heavier in the hips and the thigh. So having the tightness around there and the flare around the calf creates a little bit more of a proportion, so it makes you look long and lean and tall. So that's a hands down flattering look. Sylvia also asks, do you buy things on sale? Always. I get a rash if I have to pay full price. I refuse to do it. Everything I buy has to be on sale. I need to find a coupon. I need to find something to feel like I got a good deal. And then she says, when it comes to skincare, what product would you save to spend money on? Cleanser, serum, tools, or eye cream? Hands down, eye cream. That's my weak spot, so I'll break the bank a little bit on a good eye cream. Karen DeRath says, hi Dominique, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and what would you do there? I love the south of France and Italy, so that part of the world speaks to my soul. And what would I do? Why, my YouTube channel, of course. I can do that anywhere. Allison Domini says, currently I live in Australia. There's a major push for women supporting women. Our Deputy Prime Minister is right behind this. I'm a fashion designer, and it's a huge deal for me as there are many women that don't support each other. My question is, are you involved in any women groups? Yes, right here on YouTube. And it's one of the main reasons why I started this channel is we need to be here for each other to impart tips, ideas, words of wisdom, lifestyle, whatever it may be. Women need to support women. It astonishes me, actually, how cutting and mean-spirited and how we do not do each other a service in the way that women can treat one another. I look at my husband, I tell him this all the time, and I'm envious because he has such a great network of male friends. And if one of them falls in love or gets married or something great happens in the career or whatnot, man, they are all there to lift them up, support, congratulations, let's go have a drink. Nobody's backstabbing. Nobody's saying one thing nice to the person and then cutting them behind their back. I don't know why women do this. I think it's maybe a self-esteem issue, or that we size ourselves up compared to other women as opposed to actualizing our best internally. I think we need to stop doing that. So I would say to you, Allison, there are many women's groups, and if you look online, do a Google search, I'm sure you can find plenty in your community, but we need more women supporting women and lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down. Deanna Eldred Gibson says, I would like to know about your hair. It's long one week, short the next. How many wigs do you have, and how often are you wearing one? I included this question because I can't tell you how many times people ask me, where did you get your wig? I don't have any. It's my hair. It's just that I change so much that people think that I have a room of wigs back there. They must think that I'm like, let's try this one today. I just love change, Deanna. I can't help it. You know, one day I'm dark, the next day I'm lighter. One day I've got extensions, the next day they're out. I just love change. So no wig, it's me. Terry Bale says, you always have on great outfits and jewelry. Do you pick everything out yourself, or does the station use a stylist? Are all the clothing and accessories from your personal wardrobe? Yes. I do everything on my own. Hair, makeup, wardrobe, everything. Always have, always will. It's such a big fallacy in my business. There are very few stations that offer this anymore because of budget cuts, but I've never had a makeup artist or a wardrobe stylist or anybody. I've had to figure it out on my own, which I consider a blessing because it's now why I'm able to be here for you through 25 years of doing this on my own professionally. I have certainly accumulated a lot of knowledge and tricks along the way. So I'm grateful that I've had nobody do it for me and that I've had to figure it all out. Jean McDougall says, my husband wants to know why you wear your glasses at 5 o'clock and not at the 6 o'clock broadcast. Well, on the 5 o'clock, I just have a quick little hit that I do, and it's just teasing some stories coming up at 6. But I don't operate the teleprompter from that position where they have me in the newsroom, somebody else does. And so God forbid they forget to roll the prompter or whatever, and I need to be able to look down quickly and see my script. I need to have my cheaters on so that I'll be able to read what's below. On the 6 o'clock newscast, I control the teleprompter, so there's no issue with that. Tommy Scott says, I enjoy a little Botox from time to time and find so many women have a fear of this little miracle for fine lines and wrinkles. Have you tried Botox? And if so, perhaps can you share your experience? Yes, not only have I tried it, I've used it for many years, and I use it about every 4 to 6 months. Botox is a very tricky thing, and if done right, it can be wonderful because it can eliminate the Sharpay look on the forehead and the frown lines. And I tend to get some strong frown lines here, probably from my line of work. But to me, the worst thing that can happen with Botox is the provider will focus only in this area, right in here. And so when they just concentrate most of the Botox in that area, what happens is this area gets paralyzed, but this can still move. And so you get that. You get the, surprised look constantly. And it's so artificial looking, and it doesn't have to be that way. So if you do it, or if you're considering it, make sure that whoever you go to does an even application across your entire forehead. Make sure that they get up here, get up in here, so that everything smooths out and you maintain a natural brow line. You don't want to look like you've had this done to you. You just want to look like you're not carrying a lot of stress on your forehead. That's the key to a good Botox job. Let's see. Christy Cox says, what is your greatest blessing? I have had so many blessings along the way. My career has been a tremendous blessing. My family, my husband, but my greatest blessing is my son. And all moms watching will concur because we all feel that our children are our greatest blessings. Kira says, have you ever gotten into a pattern of overdoing exercise? I'm an exerciser, but I'm also an eater. It seems the more I exercise, the more I eat, and so the weight creeps on. Do you have a healthy amount of exercise for the regular Joe? Yes, the reason why you're eating more is that your body is becoming a furnace. You're starting to burn more, and as you gain muscle mass, that's what's happening. Your metabolism speeds up and you're burning fat, so you get hungrier. You have to be careful because you don't want to overeat. And then, like you said, not only are you putting on some muscle size, but you're gaining some fat on top of that. So it's tricky. You still have to watch what you eat as you exercise. But my feeling has always been, don't overdo anything. I don't believe in anything to an excess. Find balance in all of it. If your body is hurting too much, that's a sign. I exercise 3 days a week with Paul, and I'll do long power walks in the neighborhood. I love to be outdoors, so, a 3-mile power walk. So if I get 4 or 5 days in a week, I'm feeling pretty doggone good. Let's see. Stacy says, what advice would you give to younger women in their 30s about the constant tug to be mom and enjoy children and have a successful career? That is such a personal answer, because we all have different set points with what we feel comfortable with. I will tell you this, my son is now 11, and no matter what we think they want or need, we work so hard to provide a nice house, a bigger yard, nice clothes, nice school. We funnel all of this money into what we think will matter to them and provide the best for them. But in the end, all our children want is our time. That's it. And not just our time. I don't mean just being in the same room with them. I mean getting down to their level, getting into their world, experience what makes them happy and brings joy to them and makes them feel that you're connecting with them. So it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And I think that when you do that and when you step into their world and interact with them in ways that truly makes them feel that you're connecting with them, I can't tell you how many times I've played basketball in the backyard. I'm no great basketball player, but my three-pointer is improving. Or I've been goalie in the soccer field and my shins have gotten kicked. How many times I've done things like that? Not because it's what I necessarily want to do, but it's what my son wants to do with me. So as a young woman trying to balance work and motherhood, I will say this. Everybody's set point is different. Everybody's needs are different. But if you feel like you're giving your children all of you when you are present, it will certainly make the sting of having to be away at work a little more bearable. Sharon says, when a major life event such as the one you just experienced hits you and your routine is severely disrupted, how do you get back into the business of life? I have recently been through a long-term trauma and I am so depleted of energy, trying to find my mojo again. Any ideas? Yeah, Sharon, sometimes it is so hard to get back on the wagon when you feel lethargic, emotionally drained, physically drained, you don't want to do anything, and so you set yourself up for this cycle of continuing to do nothing. There's an expression that says you got to fake it till you make it, and that means push yourself, get out of bed, get moving, get walking, start eating right, make a plan for yourself, stick to it no matter how much you want to do nothing, and avoid these requirements and avoid getting back into life. Make yourself do it, pace yourself, and treat yourself. All of these things are very important, but structure and balance are key. So get up, force yourself to get going, say a prayer in the morning, read something inspirational that might help you get going. That's what I would recommend. And lastly, Tina Costello says, I think it would be lovely for all of your subscribers if you could tell us a little bit about your dear father. I know it would be music to my ears. After all you've been through, I think it would be cathartic to relate to some wonderful stories about him. My thoughts are with you daily. Thank you, Tina. My father was truly an incredible man. He was a Renaissance man. Born in Hamburg, Germany, went through the war, did so many things, was a musician, could play 8 to 9 instruments, went to the University of Hamburg, studied naval architecture, was a captain on boats, a race car driver, did boxing, became a pilot later in life, worked in the States as a naval architect and had his own company, was an incredibly brilliant man. People would try to stump him. He was so knowledgeable on so many things in life that people just could not grasp what his mind was capable of. He could cook. He could just do so many things, and he was part of a generation that is sadly dying off. And there are so many stories, so many beautiful stories to come from these men and women who lived through that time. And I thank God for the man that he was and the little seeds that he left inside of me to think outside the box, to be analytical. He was very logical and analytical, and I am as well. And I am so grateful for just who he was. At the same time, he was imperfect. He was not a perfect father, especially in my younger years. That generation tends to see themselves as the man of the house, the provider, but not so much interacting with young children, not like dads do today. So as a young daughter and as a young woman, these were things that I had to put to bed and to resolve and to forgive. And I will say this, that once I was able to forgive in my heart and let go, our relationship through the years became more beautiful, so rich, so touching, so full of love and emotion and expression, that I am so glad for what we had, because I felt like I got all of him. And may he rest in peace. I love you, Poppy. So, so thank you. Thank you for all of your questions. They're magnificent. And I hope I answered yours. I'm sorry, I'm going to get emotional. It's just the way it is. But I appreciate you so much. And I hope I answered yours, or maybe you gleaned something from somebody else's question. Please, comments and suggestions below. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. If you want a tutorial next week or whatever you're thinking, just let me know. And I thank you in advance. Please continue to follow me on social media, as well as KPRC Channel 2 at 6 and 10, and click2houston.com will stream the station's newscast, so you can catch one of my newscasts live on your cell phone. So I encourage you, with all this new information that you may have, and hopefully you got something from it, go out this week, be bold and be blessed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.